In recent years, mental health apps have surged in popularity, offering users on-demand support, guided therapy, and even real-time coping strategies. But behind many of these modern tools lies something both revolutionary and invisible: artificial intelligence. AI is transforming how we understand, approach, and treat mental health, not by replacing human connection, but by augmenting it in powerful and personal ways. Imagine a young woman named Chloe. She's 26, works remotely, and struggles silently with anxiety. Like many, she doesn't feel ready to speak with a therapist face-to-face. Instead, she downloads a mental health app. At first, it seems like a simple journaling tool, but over time, she notices the app begins recommending breathing exercises exactly when she needs them most. It checks in after stressful meetings, suggests sleep routines when her patterns shift, and gently reminds her to reflect when her mood dips. What she doesn't realize is that AI is behind every suggestion, analyzing her input, her usage, her patterns. These smart systems aren't just guessing. AI-powered mental health apps often use natural language processing, NLP, to interpret the emotional tone of journal entries or conversations. When a user types, "I'm so tired of everything," the AI doesn't just read the words. It analyzes sentiment, urgency, even linguistic cues that may indicate a deeper issue. Some systems are trained on data sets from cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, allowing them to respond with CBT-style prompts or suggestions. In this way, AI becomes not just a passive tool, but an active therapeutic agent. But where did this capability come from? Much of it stems from large-scale language models and sentiment analysis tools. By training AI on millions of anonymized mental health conversations, developers created systems that recognize when someone is spiraling into a depressive episode or struggling with social anxiety. Some models even adjust in real time, responding with increased sensitivity after detecting distressing patterns in speech or typing. For someone like Chloe, it can feel like the app gets her in a way few people do. Of course, no AI can or should replace a licensed therapist, but many experts argue that AI can bridge the accessibility gap. In areas with limited access to mental health care, or for populations that feel stigmatized seeking therapy, AI-driven apps offer a lifeline. Consider the global shortage of mental health professionals. According to the World Health Organization, there are fewer than 9 psychiatrists per 100,000 people in many countries. For millions, apps are the first and sometimes only line of support. And AI makes these apps more adaptive, more intelligent, and more human-like in their care. Some of the most popular mental health apps today, like Wobot, Wiser, and Upair, are built entirely around AI. Wobot, for instance, engages users in daily conversations, using evidence-based therapy principles like CBT and dialectical behavior therapy, DBT. It doesn't pretend to be a human. Instead, it frames itself as a friendly chatbot that listens without judgment. And because it's powered by AI, it can personalize interactions based on how a user is feeling that day or what patterns it notices over time. Let's pause and reflect here. The rise of AI in mental health isn't about convenience, it's about connection. In a world where so many feel isolated or misunderstood, these technologies offer something deeply valuable, a form of listening that's always available, always learning, and never judging. Take another example. Raj, a college student dealing with burnout. He feels overwhelmed, but doesn't know how to articulate it. Every day he opens his app, not knowing what to expect. But the AI notices something. The language in his responses is shifting. He's using more negative words, mentioning sleep problems, avoiding social events. The app doesn't just log this. It responds. It asks if Raj wants to explore coping strategies, nudges him toward calming audio, and even offers to draft a message. This is the power of real-time adaptive support. AI isn't just a tool. It's a mirror, reflecting back subtle patterns we might miss ourselves. With machine learning, these apps become more than static programs. They grow with the user. They remember what worked, what didn't. They adapt. However, with this power comes ethical responsibility. One of the biggest concerns surrounding AI in mental health apps is privacy. What happens to the data people like Chloe and Raj share? Is it encrypted, anonymized, stored safely? Many apps claim to prioritize user confidentiality, but without strict oversight and transparency, there's a risk of exploitation. Mental health data is among the most sensitive information a person can share, and trust must be earned, not assumed. Another challenge lies in bias. If an AI is trained on data that underrepresents certain groups, say non-Western cultures or non-English speakers, it may fail to recognize distress signals or suggest inappropriate interventions. Inaccurate responses can do more harm than good. Developers must be vigilant, inclusive, and constantly refining their models. Despite these concerns, the potential is undeniable. Researchers are now exploring how AI might detect early warning signs of conditions like bipolar disorder or PTSD based on voice modulation or typing cadence. Some apps are even being paired with wearable devices, using heart rate variability and skin temperature to assess emotional states and offer immediate interventions. This convergence of AI, biometric feedback, and therapeutic support marks a new frontier in personalized mental health care. Midway through Raj's semester, the app gently encourages him to schedule a counseling session at the campus center. That small push, a simple, intelligent prompt, leads to a turning point. He finally talks to someone in person. The app doesn't replace the therapist. It guides him to one. So what does the future hold? We may soon see AI that can not only listen and support, but also integrate with your daily calendar, adapt to your lifestyle, and even detect changes in your voice before you consciously notice a mood shift. AI won't solve all mental health problems, but it can become a trusted companion, especially in moments of loneliness, confusion, or fear. The true beauty of AI in mental health apps lies in its ability to meet people where they are, at 3 a.m., during a silent commute after a tough conversation, without judgment, without delay. Critics often ask, can an algorithm truly care? Of course not. Not in the way a human does. But that doesn't mean it can't be helpful. Compassion in mental health is not only about feeling, it's also about responsiveness, presence, and consistency. And that's where AI shines. It doesn't sleep. It doesn't cancel. It shows up again and again. This isn't to romanticize the role of AI, but to recognize its place. Just as calculators didn't replace mathematicians, AI won't replace therapists. But it can democratize access to support. It can ease the burden on overwhelmed systems, and it can provide early intervention, often the key to preventing more serious mental health crises. Young people, in particular, are more open to using digital tools for emotional support. A generation raised with smartphones is now turning to apps instead of diaries, to chatbots instead of silence. The stigma is shifting. And AI, when used ethically and wisely, can be part of that change. There's also a deeply human lesson in this technological journey that even when the listener isn't a person, the act of being heard can still be healing. In the coming years, expect to see mental health apps evolve further, integrating AI not just for support, but for proactive growth. Think digital coaches that help build resilience, gratitude, or mindful habits, all informed by your personal data patterns and emotional history. The goal is not to treat illness alone, but to promote lifelong mental wellness. As we navigate the future of mental health, AI will not be a cure-all, but it will be a companion, a digital presence that listens, learns, and gently lights the way forward when the human path feels both too heavy to walk alone. And perhaps, in that small but powerful way, AI will help more of us feel a little less alone in our minds. It's worth noting that the effectiveness of these tools doesn't lie solely in their algorithms, but in the way they empower users. Many people don't need constant therapy. They need daily reminders that their emotions are valid, their struggles are seen, and their small steps matter. AI can provide that, consistently and quietly, without pressure. For those who live with chronic anxiety, depression, or mood disorders, the ability to check in without fear of judgment is life-changing. A 2 a.m. text to a human might feel intrusive. A 2 a.m. conversation with an AI, comforting, low stakes, and immediate. That availability builds trust, even if the voice on the other end is synthetic. And while AI mental health tools are still in their infancy, their potential is vast. As they become more emotionally intelligent, more linguistically adaptive, and more culturally aware, they'll open doors to care that once felt locked for too many. Ultimately, the most meaningful use of AI in mental health apps may not be about treating illness, but about nurturing connection between us and ourselves. Because in the quiet moments, when no one else is around, sometimes all we need is for something or someone to say, "I'm here, I see you. Let's take one step together."